We can call it Jiggy and Johnny Talk Restaurants.
And we have got a an interesting topic here for our first
Jiggy and
topic.
Johnny Talk Restaurants.
There you go.
See? I mean, it's not that
It
tough.
rolls off the
I'm just giving you
tongue.
a hard time.
Well, I know, but you said it. You said it once, and now you've said it twice.
Okay, well, Jiggy and
Love it.
Johnny Talk Restaurants.
There
Now
you,
it's a triumphant there.
there you go. You did the hat trick. So let's talk a little bit about guests and the behavior of their children. This is interesting because I see this all the time when I go to places to eat, and it could be your 99-cent menu places, or it could be your really nice upscale restaurants. Uh,
Oh, yeah.
some of this is a nightmare,
Oh,
but you're the
to
expert.
say the least, But, I'm speaking from the restaurant person side of it, not the parent. And I mean, don't get me wrong, parenting is a pain in the butt. I cannot imagine what they go through. I mean, I'm a proud uncle of many, but I'm not a parent. But I also know, like, people that bring their children in should be a little bit more responsible for the behavior of the children. And I don't blame the children really, because I mean, they only
Yeah,
mimic what their parents do or what their parents let them get away with. It's kind of like, just not paying attention to them. It's like, how do you sit there in a restaurant and not know your kid is running around and, knocking stuff off other people's tables or something? It's like, I was a hyperactive kid. My mom knew exactly where my big butt was every second of that time we were in there. It's like, and plus, that's a real safety concern for the kid because, there's waiters, waitresses, managers, bartenders, and stuff carrying trays of, items.
yeah.
And I mean, can you imagine if I have like a tray with like 3 plates of sizzling fajitas at a Mexican restaurant coming out, and somebody who doesn't keep their kid at the table, you know, boom, we're talking huge, huge problem with it. Because I mean, nobody wants to see a kid get hurt. Nobody does,
Yeah.
you know. But that's the whole thing. It's a lot of different things. It's like people wanting to have their kid in their high chair on the end of the table. Everything that comes to that table now goes over the head of the youngest, smallest, most vulnerable person at the table. It's kind of like, and plus, it's a fire code violation.
Well, that too.
If you're at a regular table where it's just chairs and stuff, but it's when they do it at the booth, it's like, hey, you know what? You're putting your kid right out there in the highest traffic area of the whole restaurant, the aisle. Let's say something happens where we've got to evacuate. Okay, well, people are trapped in the booth now, and the people coming down the aisle are either going to trample the kid, knock him over, or you're going to be trapped in there. You know what I mean? I know it sounds petty, but it's not.
Well, you were talking about the kids running.
Yeah.
Uh, what about kids running in restaurants and then falling?
Well, exactly. Because, I mean, one time when I was working when I was younger, and I mean, I was a little bit smaller then, thank God, but I'm just like standing there getting ready to turn, and some kids just like whack right into me. And I mean, I'm like a
Yeah.
wall when you run into me.
Uh,
I mean, you're a pretty good sized guy, Jiggy. You'd knock me back some, but I mean, it'd be like bam.
yeah.
You got to imagine somebody that's like 3 foot something flying through there, and it's like boom. It's like T-boning a car. It's the same kind of a.
It's same concept.
Well, yeah, it is. I mean, and that's one of the things is getting run over by people, whether it's part of the staff, whether it's other guests. It's a hazard. It's like
Yeah.
if you have a child that's hyperactive, that's the reason they got Playland at McDonald's. That's the reason they got Chuck E. Cheese. I'm not saying that to be mean, I understand, but that's the reason they make those places for kids that are, active. You got to expect kids are going to be active,
Yeah. Well,
you
and then
know?
then you were talking about the kids disturbing other guests, which is a is kind of a I have eaten in many restaurants where little kids from the other table break that down for me.
Oh my God,
What your
okay.
views on this is?
There's different. One time I went into a place and There was four of us eating in there. We were paying about $50 a pop each to eat
Yeah.
there. You know, it was a nice place. This kid is just throwing the biggest bitch fit, okay? Pardon my language, folks. And I mean, it's just the kid's being a brat. It's not it's not that the kid doesn't feel well. This kid is just being a brat and a screeching. And I walked over there and I tapped the dad on the shoulder and I go, sir, I'm not paying $50 a plate to come in here and eat to listen to your kids scream the whole time while you're being a crappy parent
Wow.
and don't do anything about it. I go, pick the kid up, take him outside or something, so everybody else here can enjoy their meal because you're an ignorant parent and don't know how to do it. Wasn't a good spot for me. I probably should have been much nicer. Because then I finished it off. I go, because if I come over here again, I go, I'm going to slap you. Okay? And then there'll be a reason for everybody to cry. Walked back, instantly, kid, boom, out the door. It's like my biggest irritation, and this isn't trying to be overly mean because, I'm kind of a natural a-hole. But when, you got mom there going, now, Bobby, use your indoor voice. No, pick Bobby up and take him outside and do what my mom did. My mom didn't slap us around or anything. She took us, put us in the car, and then she would just sit there and stare at us with this glare on her face. She didn't sit
Yes.
there and smack us, didn't do anything. She just took us out there, and then she'd just look at us, and then she'd start to lecture after about 2 minutes. She'd be like, I wish I could be in there eating hot food with the rest of them, but somebody doesn't know how to behave themselves. And you'd be like, but and she'd be like, I don't hear a word out of you. Just sit there and listen. And you did that once, and you really didn't screw up more than once with them. So,
Well, and that is the thing. You only did it once.
right. I mean, it's not like my parents were abusive because they weren't. You always wanted dad to take you out to the car than mom because mom had that mom look.
Yeah.
Every mom has that, and if they actually use that, oh, those kids would be great. And it's like, you're talking about fussy kids a few minutes ago.
Yep.
I was. Okay, I understand babies are going to be fussy. That's great. I mean, pick them up, try to soothe them. It's going to be those things. You're going to have it. The stomach's going to be a little bit fussy or something. But when it's a 5 to 7 year old, that's not a baby. That's your child. That's your small child. But that's just a brat. Okay, I'm sorry. The kid's throwing a fit then. He's being a brat. She's being a brat. I'm being a brat. We're complaining about this whole thing. But you understand where I'm coming from there?
Yeah, because
That's
parents just seem to don't be paying attention to the kids is what's going on.
right, and it's like, why do they sit there and let them completely destroy the area and don't do anything to either A, compensate the server, or B,
Oh,
try to clean
I've
it up
seen
some.
I've seen I've seen many a trip to restaurants where the server is not compensated. But then I've also seen many a trip where the server is overly compensated, at least in my opinion.
Oh, I understand. It's like, you don't want to not make your place seem like it's not kid friendly or family friendly. But you also, as a parent, you got to understand, I'm not paying to sit there and listen to your kids scream.
Well, I tell.
If you're at home and the kid's throwing a fit, all means you let that kid and lecture him about an indoor voice there because I'm not paying to come over to your house to eat. And that's the whole thing. It's like a lot of people are paying good money, but a lot of people will just quit going there if you have ignorant people like that. And like I said, man, parenting is the hardest job in the world.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
but you also gotta think, you wouldn't let your kid go to a wedding and start throwing a little bitch fit like that and just let him sit there, right?
Yes.
That's what I'm saying. You're in public. Give it a try. Pick the kid up. I'm not saying you have to threaten the kid or anything. Just pick the kid up, take him outside. People expect, that outside because it's like at least you're being considerate of everybody else around you.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, as we wrap up this topic, what should we do? What is, I guess.
Like I say, try to sit there and be more cognizant of what's going on around you and who you're affecting. You know, because grandma and grandpa over there don't want your kid yelling and throwing crap over the other side of the booth. You know, I don't want your kid screaming while I'm trying to enjoy a meal with somebody. And like I said, there's going to be times babies a little bit more lenient on because there ain't much you can do with them.
Yeah.
But once they get to a certain age, it's like, you know, your kid's a brat. Because I know I was a brat at that age to a point. You know, but also be the parent.
Well,
And if you instill that right then the parents, it makes it easier when they get a little bit older.
well, next time we are going to cover letting their letting the kids make a disaster area of a mess, which already sounds terribly entertaining. So
Yeah,
we will we will cover that next week with John, and
Johnny, talk restaurants.
there it is. And John, thank